Hello, friends, and thank you as always for visiting the Legend Sports Universe YouTube channel, Legend Sports Universe, where legends play forever. This is a preview broadcast, an exhibition game between the Steelers and the Cowboys for the upcoming Franchise Stars Football League I'm creating for Madden 24. Again, this will be built on the same line of the Franchise Stars Baseball League project I've done for MLB The Show. Each franchise will have a master pool of players, in this case 130 for each franchise, based on their top approximate value per Pro Football Reference. 50 players from each franchise were randomly selected for the draw for year one. The remaining 80 players will enter via the rookie draft in subsequent years. So this will be a full-fledged, all-time franchise mode. This will go on for lots of seasons, ideally. I'm going to get through at least 10 seasons, hopefully more than that. There will probably be 4 or 5 players coming in each draft. And again, it's basically built exactly the same way as the Franchise Stars Baseball League project I've got going for MLB The Show. Football is a lot more involved than baseball as far as ratings and stuff like that goes. It's a lot more complex. So this is going to take me a while to create. I'm starting with 6 teams, and we'll be doing some tests on those 6 teams as I develop my own ratings formulas, as I always do. Every player in the game is rated by me. As the Cowboys prepare to kick off to the Steelers here. Michael Silva and Gary Sorrell in the chat. How are you, gentlemen? I hope all is well with you. Antonio Brown with the return out across the 20 to about the 23, and that's where the Steelers will start. The Steelers with a good draw, great draw defensively. Offensively, not so much, although they do get their top 2 quarterbacks. They have both Terry Bradshaw and Ben Roethlisberger to start things off. Bradshaw gets the opening nod. We'll go through the rest of this roster here as we get ready to go. Bradshaw on the first, and he strikes right away to Antonio Brown down into Dallas territory. So Bradshaw wastes no time, a 35-yard strike to Brown. No Lynn Swann, no John Stallworth at the start, no Franco Harris either. Those guys will all come in future years. The opening slate for the Steelers, Antonio Brown, Plaxico Burress, probably the lead wide receivers. Willie Parker is the feature running back. They do have DeMonte Dawson on the front line, Maurkice Pouncey as well, so there's some talent there on the front line for the Steelers. But the strength of this Steelers squad on this opening draft is their defense, although the offense right now picking Dallas apart. 2 plays, 2 passes. Antonio Brown and Terry Bradshaw linking up quickly here. Again, I've done a ton of these sims on my own, obviously, as I've been tweaking ratings and stuff like that. And the Steelers' offense has struggled. Their defense has been great. But they're coming flying out of the chute, much to Gary Sorrell's pleasure here to get this kicked off. Handoff Willie Parker, his first carry of the game, down inside the 20. He'll pick up 3 on that one. That'll bring up 2nd and 7. This Cowboys squad, the Cowboys got a great offensive draw. They've got Roger Staubach at the quarterback to start things off. Emmitt Smith, Zeke Elliott, and DeMarco Murray all in the backfield. Although Emmitt will obviously carry the bulk of the load there. They got Michael Irvin at wide receiver. They got a strong offensive line draw as Parker carries again. Pickup of 5. It'll be 3rd and 2 for the Steelers here, as we're just inside the 13-minute mark of this opening quarter. The Cowboys' defense has some talent, but there are some empty holes, particularly their linebacking core. Chuck Howley leads that linebacking core, and Howley, of course, was a terrific player. But the rest of their linebacking core is mediocre at best. They're decent at defensive back, but not great. Decent on the line, but not great. So Parker, with his 3rd carry there, will get the first down going off tackle. 1st and goal, he's down to the 8. So the Steelers get a fresh set here. Solid opening drive for Pittsburgh. There are a few things in doing this project. Fuqua is the fullback. Todd, how are you? But they're not running that. They're not running an I set right now, so Fuqua's not getting a ton of playing time in these early sims as that pass falls incomplete. In typical EA fashion, they've got hey 007, how are you? They've got they do a lot of things right, but some of the things they do wrong are just absolutely maddening, particularly from a creation standpoint. There are a few things I can't do. As Parker goes up the middle, he's got an opening there. DeMonte Dawson helps pave the way, and Parker goes in. That is as good an opening drive as the Steelers could have asked for. They march right down the field against the Cowboys. Parker carries it in, and the Steelers are on the board. Nice cut there by Parker as he gets to the second level. So Gary Anderson will come on for the extra point. Try to put the Steelers up 7-0. A successful opening drive for Pittsburgh. 7 plays, 75 yards in 3:19. The Cowboys will get their first crack at the ball and try to penetrate this Steelers defense. So what I was saying, as far as development goes, there are certain things I can't really do. So like right now in an exhibition game, you can't assign different playbooks to each team. So everybody's kind of working off a generic run, like balanced run-pass playbook. My ultimate plan is once I've got all of the rosters set, I will then go and do custom playbooks for each team that I'll put together, probably using data from Action PC football and their ratios for what teams call run to pass, the different play types and stuff like that. So there's a huge undertaking to this, and some of it I cannot do until I have all of the rosters, all of the teams done and set, and I can get into the franchise actual mode of it, which is frighteningly stupid, but that's how EA does it. I can't do anything with coaches or anything like that until I get into the franchise mode, and I can't get into franchise mode, edit, and then export the roster from there. So I have to do all the roster for all the teams before I can start the franchise mode and do like the second part of what's going to need to be done here. So there's a lot of time still ahead for me for doing this. Strike there, Staubach completes his pass to Lance Rensel. First pass from Staubach. Rensel, formerly the other half of the combo with Bullet Bob Hayes, until Lance got himself into some legal problems for indecent exposure. A kind of disturbing story if you go and look it up, but Lance Rensel's star passed really quickly. Talented receiver, but like some inappropriate things that ended his career. Staubach dumps that one off to Emmitt Smith. Pickup of 6. It's 2nd and 4 for Dallas. See Jack Lambert barking the orders for the Steelers. The Steelers got a fantastic defensive draw as Bernard Strom joins us. How are you, Bernard? Hope all is well with you, sir. First we'll go through the Steelers here. The Steelers squad, they've got on the defensive line, they've got L.C. Greenwood and Cameron Hayward. Terrific pass rush combination there, particularly Hayward. But their linebacking core, they got a great draw for their linebackers. They got Lambert, they got Jack Ham, they got Levon Kirkland, they got Andy Russell, they got Jason Gilden, who is a nice, pass rushing linebacker as well. And their secondary, they got Mel Blount and Troy Polamalu. So this Steelers defense got a fantastic draw, and they're just going to be really tough to deal with. Emmett takes a pop there. Good pickup, though, but it's 2nd and inches now for the Cowboys. I'm trying to think of other stuff to discuss about how this is getting set up. I had done a ratings setup video on the channel. It's kind of discussing a bit of how I'm doing that. As Emmitt Smith gets outside, off to the races, down inside the Pittsburgh 30. There is a flag on the play, though. And it's an illegal block on the Cowboys, so that play is going to come back. Jay Novacek gets whistled. So instead of the big gain, ball gets held to the 39. Pass over the middle, complete. Rensel again finds the seam down inside the 20. So Staubach has completed his first 4 for 51 yards in the early going. Good strike there. Mel Blount has Michael Irvin covered. So Renzel could stand to get a bit extra action in this game. So what I was saying again before about the playbooks, they do a lot of single back, and they do a lot of shotgun in this default balanced playbook too. So like fullbacks aren't going to get a lot of action the way this is right now. But if you use the default playbooks, because Madden by default is so offense focused, if you use the default playbooks, teams are passing the ball like the team-specific playbooks. Virtually every team is throwing the ball like a 70% passing rate, which isn't what I want. I want to build this league more like late 80s, early 90s football. As Bernard noted, you remember Lance Renzel married to a beautiful wife. Her name, Joey Heather. Yes, and then she divorced him when he got busted for, I mentioned this right before you got into the chat, I think, Bernard. Renzel was busted for indecent exposing himself to a kid at some point, and Renzel's career was basically done at that point. I didn't know about that until I was putting together the roster. I knew Lance Renzel was a solid receiver, but I knew his career wasn't that long. I was like, oh, did he have an injury or anything like that? And it ended up that was the story instead. I formation, Robert Newhouse, the fullback. Staubach, all sorts of time. He's got an opening, and Staubach's going to take it in himself. So Staubach runs it in. Dallas comes down the field. They answer the Steelers' opening drive. Well done there by the Cowboys, and we're going to be tied up. Great coverage by the Steelers' secondary, but they left a gap, and Staubach took it. Chris Bonio comes on for the extra point to try to tie things up. And it's through. 10 plays, 66 yards. Just under 6 minutes for the Dallas drive. So both teams get down the field well to open things up. Again, this is the first of these exhibition games that I'm doing a broadcast for. Whether this game goes perfectly or it goes off the rails, a project can't be judged obviously by a one-off game, and that's whether this goes good or bad. I've been doing a ton of testing on it as well, and overall I'm really happy with what I'm seeing. As Antonio Brown breaks one. Brown down into Dallas territory, down inside the 40. Referee sets a pick there, but they're still able to bring him down. But a huge return for Antonio Brown. Brought down, it looks like they'll spot it around the Dallas 32. Most games have been coming in my testing at about like late teens, low 20s, maybe 25 or so points for a team. I've also got the 49ers and Dolphins done, so I've been cycling through them, and I got the Raiders and Packers done except their secondaries. But so points-wise, I'm getting things right about where I want, and the quick sim results are also meeting that standard, which is good. That's what I want to be. False start here on the Steelers. Penalties, talking about this, penalties are something that Madden doesn't do enough of, so I've been really fighting with the game engine to try to get penalties remotely realistic. You're not really going to see a team in this game get double-digit penalties very much, but my goal is to get them around what the average was by 1990 or so, which is where teams were averaging about 6 penalties a game. So if I can get somewhere between 10 and 12 penalties, 10, 14 penalties a game between the two teams, I'll be happy with that. Bradshaw, great coverage by the Cowboys. Bradshaw scrambles for a little bit, hits the deck so he doesn't take the big shot. He picks up 2. Rather than turn the ball over, but after the big return from Antonio Brown, the Steelers can't do anything with it. Good job there by Brady James to get over there and take an angle on Bradshaw. He knew he had no shot at the first down. So Gary Anderson will come on for the kick. This will be 46 yards. Gary Anderson, who seemed like he kicked for about 60 years, puts this one through the uprights. And the Steelers reclaim the lead. They are up 10-7 with 4:08 left here in the first quarter. Pop back into the chat a little bit. Hello, Beatles. How are you? Thank you much. I can't turn off the celebrations, Gary. I know. Staubach dancing like that in the end zone. It's like Willie Mays doing the bat flip, in MLB The Show. It's like, no, that's not really going to happen. Thank you, Bernard. I appreciate that. Thanks, Michael. Very good, 007. I'm glad you listened to the advice there. Yeah, just, for people who do want to watch what you're doing, even when you're doing a largely kind of text kind of game like that, people like seeing, if they're checking it out, especially if they're unfamiliar with the game, they kind of want to be able to see, okay, this is the cards, this is the representation, this is whatever. So I definitely think you being able to make that into your full screen thing will just kind of help people get a little bit more engaged with you. So I'm glad that you appreciated that. Staubach is still perfect so far. It's been largely short passes. He's hit Renzel for a couple of decent length. I'm not sure Michael Irvin has a catch yet, as Mel Blount is doing a great job on him. So that bald fellow on the sideline, that was Terry Bradshaw. Folks, of all the dumb things that EA does, their handling of faces may be the dumbest thing in the world. They give you these generic faces, but you can't morph the shapes. So, like the dumb faces that they give you, that's it. For black players in the game, there's actually a pretty good variety of faces. As Staubach's under pressure, and down he goes. Andy Russell, there were a few guys there. Russell's the one who brings him down. Staubach sacked by Russell, and the Cowboys will have to punt. Staubach stood in there for a while, but ended up trying to roll out of it, and he rolled right into Russell. Larry Allen only able to hold him off for so long. So that's the Steelers' defense we've been anticipating. They lock Dallas down, and the Cowboys will have to punt here. The white people faces in this game are absolutely atrocious for the most part. There's no legitimate, like, blonde hair guys like Bradshaw. There's like dirty blonde hair guys, but under the helmet it looks brown, like coming out of the back. So I actually thought that the bald would actually look, the thing about football is 99% of the time these guys are going to have their helmets on, so the faces don't mean that much. But when it comes like that and the helmet is off, you're like, wow, that looks absolutely nothing like him. That's just EA brilliance, and I say that with full sarcasm. It's really bad. Some of the faces they give some of the white guys to choose for are like aliens. There was a guy, Gary would remember who it was, who ran like an orc football league using Pro Strategy Football. Like, he created like orc and player sprites and stuff like that. Not my kind of thing, but super creative, and the guy put a ton of work into it. Some of the faces that they give you in this game look like they could have played in that guy's league. Absolutely absurd. Like, I'll hit Sony as a dump off there to Parker gets the first down. A little bit of a scrum along the sideline there. Somebody didn't like something. Some words being exchanged. Good job there by Bradshaw. He had Bob Lilly in his face, thumped it off to Parker, who got some room to go up the sideline there. Closing in on a minute left here in this first quarter. Terrence Newman with the tackle there. I forgot my train of thought. I was ranting about. Oh, yeah. So I'll say some of the dumb stuff that Sony does as far as MLB The Show, but it's nothing compared to the dumb stuff that EA does with this. It's, you can't. Here's another one that I deal with in the roster thing. So I mentioned not being able to edit do playbooks and coaches and game plans for the teams and stuff like that until I'm in the franchise mode. Salary cap shouldn't matter while you're just editing the roster. That shouldn't matter until you get into the franchise mode. But in EA's case, if you start moving players around while you're editing rosters, it won't let you make certain moves or create certain guys with certain contract levels until you get into franchise mode. And you can't edit the contracts until you go into franchise mode. I can take a guy as Chuck Howley gets the first sack there for the Cowboys to end the first quarter as he brings down Bradshaw. You can't edit the contracts until you get into the franchise mode too. So you can't even fix it until you get into franchise mode, which is just beyond ridiculous. Like the hurdles, they give you these creation features, but they're clearly done by guys who don't actually do creating. They don't actually do roster stuff, which is somewhat maddening. Let me pop back into the chat here, see what what comments I've possibly missed here. Let's see. 007 asks, can we see the Immaculate Reception? Eventually, but Franco Harris isn't in it as of yet. Bradshaw looked like Nick Cage with his hairpiece off. Yeah, that was pretty rough. In franchise mode, you have to manually kick field goals and PATs and punts. There's not a way for the AI to kick for both teams, even if you only call the plays, unlike exhibition mode. Well, you can do coaching. I can set up a different coach profile so I can take ownership of all the teams. So that I'm not overly worried about. I mean, if I have to handle kicks, I will. But I actually believe there is a way around that. But I will look into that a little bit more. Evil Empire, they're just a company. They're just... let me see, he's finally finished it and released it. Oh, Gary, you talking about the Orkin guy? That's great. I'll tell you, like I said, that's not my kind of thing, but man, that guy has put in so much work to do that. I really hope that goes well. 007 asks, are you playing 15-minute quarters? Yes, 15-minute quarters, accelerated clock. I was getting a couple of, I said to 10 seconds, and you get realistic play numbers that way. I had set it to 10 seconds, but I felt like I was getting a couple of delay of game calls, so I tried to put it back to 12. I may put it back to the 10, though. It is making a little bit of a difference. That quarter took a little bit longer than it had been. So I'll see after a couple of games that I run with it if it makes a huge difference in the play count. If the play count gets too high, then I'll neutralize it. I wasn't thinking that 2 seconds for each play would really make a difference, but if it adds, 10 plays in the course of a game, that'd be fairly significant. Smith, contained in the backfield, finds a seam, tries to get outside. He's brought down, picks up 3. It's 2nd and 7 for Smith. Michael asked that I just see a player on the Steelers named Random. Yes. So, because basically when this is all done, I'm going to have all real players, like current players, wiped out of the game. And what I was just mentioning about not being able to move guys because of salary cap and stuff like that, if I can't move a guy off a team because of that, I just change his name to Joe Random and I bottom out all of his ratings so the game won't actually play him. The Joe Random is what all the dummy guys are that I use in MLB The Show also. Staubach is brought down for another sack. Jack Ham gets to him there. Staubach tries to fight his way away from that, but he's not getting out of the grip of Ham there. Rayfield Wright contained him for a while, but Ham ultimately able to get past him. The Steelers secondary doing a terrific job. Staubach completing a high percentage. But he's starting to have a little bit more difficult time of that as the game moves on. Yeah, the 10 seconds, Menard, it does work. It does work well. I was just worried because I was getting hit with a couple too many delay of game penalties, and I've maxed the penalty sliders out, and the penalties are still a little bit below realism. But I may let that delay of game thing happen occasionally and just kind of count that like it's a false start, and that may help get numbers to where they should be realistically. I've toned down roughing the passer a little bit because I felt like that was happening a lot. And in player attributes, you can set players to disciplined, normal, or undisciplined. So I'm starting to tweak that a little bit as I try to get to the penalty numbers, close. Again, I don't think I can really get them. I don't think you can really get them perfect. Nice bounce back there by Parker. Breaks free of a tackle and he gets out past the 45. Good rush for Parker. Now 37 carries on the day. A little bit of chatter for him and Roy Williams. Not sure why Williams would be chatting there as Parker got the first down. And the Steelers are winning. So he's kind of 0 for 2 in making his argument there. Handoff here for Parker again. Gets down into Dallas territory. The other thing I was messing with, and I've been messing with, and it was going well in the Sims before, I actually haven't seen, and I may have missed it if I was talking, backup running backs getting a few more carries in the games. You don't want somebody like Willie Parker or somebody jump there. Too Tall Jones says he was drawn off. Ball start, offense. And he was. So a false start there on Davis. Now it'll cost Pittsburgh 5 yards. We'll go back to a 2nd and 11. And in the recent Sims, it's been working well that the backup guys have been getting in there for 5 to 7 carries in the game and stuff like that as the game marks on. But you've got to bring down the running back stamina considerably to get that happen. And it also factors in the other backs who are on the team. So a team that has like 3 running backs who are fairly even in ability is more likely to spread the wealth carrying the ball than a team where there's a significant gap between the main back and the secondary backs. Michael, there is that camera on the field goal attempts. It won't change it for me. It'll do the whole broadcast like this, and then it may show you the replay from behind. I think it did it on Anderson's field goal before. But I could set the camera angle to whatever I wanted it to be. But I like, when I do the broadcast, I like it from this angle rather than the behind the quarterback angle. But yeah, there's a bunch of different TV angles that I could put with this. So the Cowboys will start from their 13. Handoff there to Smith, out across the 15. I believe that was Lambert who got to him, brings him down. Second tackle of the game for the Steelers defensive captain. Appreciate any of you guys watching. Kindly bang that like button if you have not as of yet. And if you are watching and not in the chat and haven't subscribed as of yet, I hope you will consider doing so. Pass there, complete. Novacek out across the 40. So Staubach hits his tight end, and Staubach 10 of 11, only 98 yards. But 10 of 11 completion-wise. So Staubach's been accurate. A little talk about ratings. A big thing for how I rate guys, I've talked about this obviously in doing the baseball stuff, is I rate guys relative to their era. So guys like Bradshaw and Staubach and guys who were in an era where you didn't complete hugely high percentage of passes. If you completed 50% of your passes in that day, as Emmett is bottled up there, nothing doing. That whole Steelers defense was all over him. That's a loss of 3. I feel like that's the only real way to judge guys fairly and place them like where they are in the pantheon um, of running backs of players. In history, as Staubach finds Irvin there down inside Pittsburgh territory. That's Irvin's second catch of the game. If you don't judge them against their era, like if I put Bradshaw in here as a 48% completion quarterback, he's going to be kind of useless. Now, Bradshaw, even for his era, completed below average percent of his passes, and he threw interceptions at a higher than average clip. But Bradshaw was obviously a great big game quarterback, and he threw touchdowns at a huge percentage relative to his era. So stuff kind of balances out a bit there. So Bradshaw, when this league is done, will probably be in the lower guys completion percentage wise, but that lower completion percentage in the context of this league will probably be 55% as opposed to 46% or whatever he was throwing for back in the 70s. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, of course. So we're inside 5 minutes left here in the first half. Let's start it out. Looking like it could turn into a shootout has kind of simmered down a bit. Both teams scoring touchdowns on their opening drive. Pittsburgh has mustered a field goal since then. That's the only scoring. Staubach drops back, fires, it's complete. Irvin down inside the 10. They'll say he's down at the 11, so the Cowboys will have an opportunity to get another first down. No, Blount in the coverage there. But Irvin had him beat. Blount had kept him in check to only one reception until this drive. But Irvin's now caught 2 on this one. Clock ticking down, 4:20 here in the half. Smith the lone setback. Pass for the end zone. He had it, it's jarred loose, and they say it's incomplete. Good hit, believe that was Mick Fitzpatrick. Jarring that ball loose, it's incomplete, it's 2nd and 10. Handoff, Smith bounces to the outside. He's stopped there by Andy Russell. One of the things I'm trying to do, again, because the faces are going to be so inaccurate, but the faces also don't really matter so much because guys have the helmets on, I am trying to be pretty good about getting appearance, about getting equipment stuff right for these guys. So I'll do Google searches of every player as I create them, and whatever is the most prevalent, gear in the first couple of images that I see of a player is how I'll dress him up in the game. So you'll see, Brian Cox has the big neck guard, and Art Shell and Gene Upshaw are taped like mummies and stuff like that. Well, I think I might be losing signal here. Might have to get this restarted. Things are blipping a bit on the YouTube. So if this disconnects for any reason, there we go. If the chat disconnects for any reason, as I got hesitated there, if the chat disconnects for any reason, I'll restart it. This is right now. I'm getting a bunch of errors popping up on here. It's acting like it's having a hard time with the feed. So if it disconnects, I'll restart the broadcast. Cowboys tie it up. 3:20 left in the half. I appreciate it, Bernard. Thank you. It's it's one of those things where it is a ton of work, but man, if I get it right, this is going to be a hell of a lot of fun. So the last sim that I did before going live with this one, I think Emmett carried the ball like 19 times, and then DeMarco Murray carried it like 9. And Parker had carried it, I think, 18 times, and Rocky Dwyer carried it like 6. So that's kind of what I'm looking to get to in that regard with the running backs, and I'm getting much closer to that. I'm actually surprised the secondary backs haven't played into this game, but again, I think you've seen some long, as the drives have gotten a little bit shorter. It's, it was the shootout earlier on, and now teams aren't really having those super long drives that they each had for their opening touchdowns. So you're not seeing the secondary back come in too much. We'll see how it plays out over the course of the full game. Pass over the middle there. Big Eric Green hauls it into Dallas territory for the completion down to the 45. Strike there. Bit of a dangerous pass from Bradshaw, but he threads the needle. Steelers running the no huddle. Bradshaw drops back again. Looks to the right-hand side. That is complete to Parker out of the backfield. Bradshaw, 8 of 13 for 115 yards to this point. There's snap complete. And that's going to break. Plaxico Burress goes in for the touchdown. Big strike before the half. Bradshaw hits Burress over the middle. And the Steelers strike. Burress gets ahead. That looked like Terrence Newman getting beat there on that one. So good job by Burress to put the Steelers up by a touchdown as we prepare to head into halftime. Extra point is good, and the Steelers take a 17-10 lead. Nice drive there by Pittsburgh. Paulius just got a text. Here's another one of those things that you can't change. I'm actually going to have to recreate. So this is the punter for the Steelers, Craig Colquitt, doing the kicks. I don't believe Colquitt was actually lefty. So I'm going to have to create him because you can't edit whether a guy is righty or lefty until you go into franchise mode either. That's not something you can edit in the roster thing unless you create the player from scratch. But I've heard that there is a player creation limit, so a lot of what I'm doing is overwriting real current players with these guys' ratings. And then what I'm doing is, so like rookie guys who have lesser career stats, I'm converting them into the better players of the league. And guys who are lesser players are guys who I'm making as players listed with more career stats, because they're not going to end up in the career leaderboards anyway down the line. And that's the real reason for caring about the career stats that are kept. So it's just kind of selecting, if a guy's going to be rated above an 80 or something like that, I'll overwrite a rookie with him. But if a guy's going to be a 65 and not really be a leader in any kind of stat category potentially down the line, I'm more likely to use him to overwrite a veteran player, because I'm not really going to care about looking at those career statistics as the league goes on. Staubach under pressure. He's going to keep it. Scrambles himself. First down out past the 40. Staubach's second scramble. His first one ended up in the end zone. Dallas has 2 timeouts left. There's the alien-looking Terry Bradshaw. That's so annoying. And they don't really show many guys with their helmets off on the sidelines, except for the quarterbacks. Timeout is called. Steelers lead 17-10 as we approach halftime. I do think I am going to go back to the 10-second rundown clock. I know those couple of seconds shouldn't make that big a difference, but I feel like this game is going at a much slower pace than what my games, as in my prior testings I've just done myself, have been going. Staubach drops back, pass over the middle. He hits Emmett out of the backfield. He's got the first down right around midfield. Dallas burns that last time out. So 22 seconds left. So now they're going to have to use the sideline or spikes to try to get them down. They're probably just trying to get into a field goal range for Chris Boniel. Shotgun. Staubach fires to the right-hand side. It's caught by Tony Hill, but that's a big hit to keep him in bounds. Clock ticking. Dallas taking too long to get up to the line here. And they're not going to get another playoff. So we'll head into the half. Poor clock management there by the Cowboys. That's the first time I've actually seen that happen, so I won't judge it too harshly unless I see that happen, more frequently. But they should have been able, that almost looked like the game got hung up wanting to show, the post-tackle graphic of the players, congratulating each other and whatever. And the clock ran while it was doing that, and by that point, the Cowboys couldn't run the spike. So it's like the animation interfered with the gameplay, which is, which isn't ideal. But that's the first time I've seen that happen in 20 plus, games that I've simmed while I'm testing this. So I won't judge it too harshly yet. But if that's something that happens more frequently, that'll be a problem to say the least. So 17-10 Steelers as we get ready to start the second half. Halftime report wasn't much of one. No out-of-town games or anything like that. Miles Austin back to receive the kick. So the Cowboys will receive to open it up here in the second half. Here's Austin out across the 20. Tries to cut back. Nothing doing there. He is brought down. And Dallas will start the second half of this football game from their own 23. Handoff. Emmett out across the 25. He's only got 10 rushes, so, it's not like you have to have the secondary back in as of yet. I actually want to see what the breakdown run to pass is. I actually feel like both teams are passing a little bit more than what they have been leading up to this. Nothing outlandish. Again, if you use the default game playbooks, the game will pass 70% of the time. Complete pass there. There's Schultz. His first reception. 7-yard pickup. The second tight end on this Cowboys roster. Eric Bjornsson is the third one, if I remember correctly. But chains move. It's a first down. Staubach has been accurate. They have not really been testing it down the field too much. Pump fake, handoff, and wow. Oh, goodness. Joel Steed not fooled by that fake at all. Obliterates Emmitt Smith for a loss of 2. It's 2nd and 12. So Michael asked how many teams you've got completed so far. I've got these two and the 49ers and the Dolphins, and I have the Raiders and the Packers done except for the defensive backs. I have to do the defensive backs, and then I'll be at those 6, and then I'll really start heavily testing those 6 teams, playing them off against each other in games, both playing out like this and quick sims, as Staubach is going to be brought down here for the sack. Jack Ham in there. He gets some help that time. That'll be a split sack, but Staubach goes down. He's been sacked on 3rd down 3 times. so far in this game. So the Steelers putting the pressure on them on 3rd and long. Here comes the punt. Steelers will get it back and should get decent field position to boot. Good coverage there. Newman on the tackle. Brown can't go anywhere. Plaxico Burress, 3 catches for 48 yards and a score so far for the Steelers, as you see Plaxico come onto the field. I formation here for the Steelers. So basically I do that, Michael. So I test with a small batch of teams just because, I mean, I've already gone through, depending on the position, I've changed ratings formulas anywhere from 3 to 6 times since I started doing this. So if I went like, oh, I'm going to bang out all the teams and then test it, I would just be going back and redoing work over and over and over again. So I'm doing an inaugural batch of 6, and then I'll add another batch of 6, do more testing and stuff like that, and then if things are still good at that point, then I'll start blowing through the rest of them. The baseball project took me 6 months from when I started it to getting it up and running. Oh, nice play there. Who was that? Michael Downs lays out, knocks down that ball intended for Wallace. That might have been 6 if Downs hadn't gotten a hand on it. Instead, it'll be 4th and 5, and the Steelers will have to punt. I would love if I could get this going by Christmas. That might be a bit ambitious, but we'll see. But I'm enjoying how it's playing out so far. Not perfect yet, but it's better each time I make an adjustment, which is, when you do this, the way that I do it is all you can ask. You just want to keep on moving things in the right direction. Hand off to Smith. Pickup of 3, 13 carries for 48 yards for Emmett so far. Polamalu brings him down. Handoff tries to pop it to the outside, but Smith is well contained there. Levon Kirkland leading the charge. Again, this Steelers linebacker core is so good. Everybody knows the Steelers are known for their linebackers, but they also got just a great draw here for year 1. If the Steelers offense can produce, they're going to be very successful. Short pass over the middle for Renzel. Stolbach is 18 of 23. 189 yards. It's been an economical attack, but it's worked. Too many drives for the Cowboys, though, have petered out. Again, Stolbach has been sacked on 3rd down 3 times. Cowboys, all right, 17 rushes, 23 passes. That's what we like to see. Again, I'm looking to model this league around late 80s, early 90s style football. Handoff there to Smith. Wagner brings him down, but not until he gets the 1st down. Little bit of chatter there. Stolbach is in the shotgun. Barks out behind him. Smith tries to get it outside, and he is wrapped up. Kirkland read that play beautifully. Got in there, got him from behind. Lambert gets Smith from front, and Smith and Lambert taunting Emmitt Smith. A great crop of linebackers. Lambert leads the way. 2nd and 12. Fake to go to that play. It didn't work before. It works marginally better this time. But if you're the Steelers, you got to feel good about what you've done on Emmitt Smith to this point. 17 carries, 62 yards. So he's under 4 yards per carry. pair of setbacks. Staubach over the middle, complete to Irvin for the first down. Irvin tries to spin away from it. Wagner is able to bring him down, but it is a first down. The chains will move down to the Pittsburgh 40. These guys are barking at each other after pretty much every play. So the Cowboys move the chains again. Handoff. Oh my goodness. Jack Lambert knifes his way through and flattens Smith again. Those two getting very well acquainted in this one. Approaching 5.5 minutes left in the third quarter. Loaded backfield, Robert Newhouse in motion. Slides out wide. It's a handoff here. DeMarco Murray gets his carry. He gets a first down there. So some fresh legs. That's Murray's second carry of the game. He bowls ahead for the first down. That's what we like to see. Get the second string backs in there just a little bit. You don't want to see, I mean, guys can certainly do it occasionally. I won't mind. But what I don't want to see is the top running back getting 30 carries in a game routinely. Play action as Smith is back in. Coverage down the field. Staubach is brought down. T.J. Watt gets to him. His fourth sack for the Steelers. Watt now has 1.5. Down goes Staubach for a loss of 2. Staubach had that reputation as being very mobile and a great scrambler and all that kind of stuff, but Staubach was sacked more than the average quarterback virtually every season. Under pressure again. He's hit after he throws again. They probably want a roughing flag there, but no such luck. Incomplete. It's 3rd and 12. In the shotgun. Staubach takes off. Looking for someone. He's being tracked, and Lambert just stays with him until the sideline. And look at Mel Blount. He knows Staubach was looking for Irvin, and Mel Blount wouldn't let him get free. So Bolio will come on to attempt a 45-yarder and try to narrow the deficit. Kick is up. It's pushed, but I believe he splits it. And it's through. So Bolio nails it, gets Dallas within 4. 17-13 Steelers. 3:59 left here in quarter number 3. Next one of these games I'll do a 49ers-Dolphins game since I have those two done. Not tonight, but maybe at some point this weekend. So Antonio Brown gets out across the 20, out across the 25. So Bradshaw will lead the Steelers back onto the field. Still shepherding a 4-point lead. Pass over the middle, complete. I believe that's a first down. Antonio Brown. He was knocked back short of the marker, but forward progress will give him the first down at the 38. Anthony Hitchens, his first tackle for the Cowboys. Slight motion from Burris. He doesn't cut across, though. It's a handoff anyway to Parker. And Parker is out near midfield. 12 carries for 67 yards for Parker to this point. Not sure what Ellis is talking about. It's the second time I've seen a clip of a Cowboy player jawing at Parker after Parker gets a first down. 13 carries, 17 passes to this point for the Steelers. There's another handoff to Parker. And Parker breaks it, and he's gone. Up the sideline, one man to beat. Michael Downs gets over and drags him out of bounds. But that long carry will take Parker above the 100-yard mark. Got a good seal block. Two Cowboys run into each other there. Terrence Newman gets picked by his own linebacker. Believe that was Anthony Hitchens, and Parker is off to the races. Downs brings him down at the 7. But now it's 1st and goal for the Steelers as we get inside the 2-minute mark here in the 3rd. False start there by the Steelers. I think it just played him saying, "Oh crap." That's great. 1st and goal from the 12. The handoff bottled up. Nice job there by George Andry. Really lesser known, but very strong defensive ends, the older Cowboys squads. Down inside a minute and a half here in the 3rd. Pittsburgh looking to make this a much tougher road for the Cowboys. Parker gets it down inside the 5. Roy Williams on the stop. But Willie Parker running the ball well. Again, he's not, if you think of Steelers running backs, Parker comes in down that list. I know he did for me, but he was a better back than I thought he was. Gary and I were talking about this earlier on. Bradshaw under pressure. Fires back in the end zone. Touchdown, Plaxico Burress. Bradshaw sensed the pressure, rolled out, bought some time, and Burress gets in behind everybody at the back of the end zone. They'll check the feet, but he looks like he's in. There is no review. It's a touchdown for the Steelers. And pending the extra point here from Gary Anderson, Pittsburgh will take a 24-13 lead. 6 plays, 78 yards in 3 minutes and 15 seconds for the Steelers. Much to Gary's pleasure. I don't know if that's something that the current Steelers do, where the current Steelers punter does their kickoffs also. Because I didn't set it to have the punter doing the kickoffs. So I don't know if it just did that on its own. Or if just because, Gary Anderson, a super accurate kicker, but not a great leg. So they may just think that Colquitt's leg is much better than Anderson's and have him do the kickoffs. So late in the 3rd, the Cowboys take over from their 20. Newhouse in motion. Handoff, Smith. His 19th carry of the game. The Steelers have held him to 66 yards on the ground. You would have signed up for that if you were Pittsburgh coming into this one. This Steel Curtain defense living up to its billing. And they will let the clock run out to end the 3rd. So let me see, through 3 quarters, we are at 55-36. 91 plays. That'll get us on pace for right around 120, which is exactly where we want to be. Staubach drops back, and they're going to air it out. Deep ball, down the sideline, overthrows them. Rensel had Washington beat, but Staubach overthrew him. Incomplete. It's 3rd and 6. Cowboys hadn't looked for that home run ball yet today. They went for it there. Staubach drops back, throws to the side. Tony Hill with the catch out past the 35 for a 1st down. Good day for Staubach, 20 for 28. Again, a lot of the passes have been of this short variety. Credit to the Steelers defense for not giving them that big play much during the game. I formation. There's the handoff. Smith, and there is nothing doing there. Secondary getting into the act in the backfield. Micah Fitzpatrick, he's got 5 tackles on the game. Loss of 3, 2nd and 13. I'll tell you, Gary, your Steelers, this defense is going to be really hard for teams to face. Pass out to the left. Irvin has it. He's hit as soon as he catches it. Mel Blount with him again. Irvin's got 5 catches for 70. But no big hitter. 5th tackle for Blount. 3rd and 8. In the shotgun. Staubach. He looked like he had time, and then suddenly he didn't. Joel Steed brings him down. It's 4th and 10. And Staubach's frustration is evident for everyone. Punting unit comes on again for the Cowboys. Fair catch is called for by Brown. Steelers will take over from their 25. 12-17 left in the game, and Bradshaw hoping that he and his offensive squad here can put the icing on this one with a good drive. Bradshaw drops back. Pass over the middle, complete. It'll be a 1st down. Mike Wallace with the reception there. Bradshaw, 12 of 19. He's thrown a couple of touchdowns. Cornell Green picks up his 5th tackle of the game. Bradshaw under pressure, and down he goes. Bob Lilly drags him down, picks up his 1st sack of the game. 2nd sack for the Cowboys. The Steelers have sacked Staubach 5 times. 2nd and 16 now. Cowboys defense trying to come up big here. Steelers just need to not make mistakes, though. Up 11, just take the clock, don't turn it over. Andrew gets a free run at Bradshaw there, who's hammered. Pass to Parker. Can't be handled. It's 3rd and 16. Might be a good thing I turned down that roughing the passer slider, because Bradshaw got hit well after he threw that ball. 3rd and 16. Pressure, stop. Bradshaw rolls right, pass. Oh, and not sure if that was Hitchens or Brady Jones, but went for the interception there and didn't come up with it. Catch is made, but doesn't get the 1st down, so the Cowboys send the Steelers 3 and out. I'm sorry, no, I think they got a 1st down, I think, on that first play. But then they went out. So here comes the punt. Cowboys will get it back. And that ball dies inside the 5. Beautiful punt from Colquitt. Dies at the 2. And Staubach and company now have 98 yards ahead of them. And down he goes, and that's a safety. Andy Russell blows that play up, and Emmitt Smith is bottled up in the end zone. Lambert there as well. And now, Pittsburgh's lead is now 13, and they will get the ball back with 10:09 remaining in the game. The Cowboys went down the field for a touchdown on their first drive. They've gotten 6 points since. Punt after the safety. Mel Blount actually takes that one. 147 total yards. Willie Parker saying, Emmett who? Much of that coming on the one carry, but even so, Parker has certainly put together a fine effort today. Handoff, he's bottled up here. At this point, just don't fumble the ball. If you're Bradshaw, don't throw an interception. And just let the clock do the work. Bradshaw takes his time getting under center. Handoff. Parker again. He's hammered. Good tackle there. No pickup. It's 3rd and 8. Anthony Hitchens, his second tackle of the game. One stamina thing I also want to work. I want to work on the linemen stamina, getting them cycled through a bit, and defensive backs and linebackers. Just to get kind of everybody into the games a bit. It's most prominent as something I need to do with the running backs, but I want to deal with the other positions as well. Bradshaw didn't see anything he liked there. He wisely throws it away. 4th and 8, the punting unit will come on. This is a 13-point game. Lots of work still to do for the Cowboys. Colquitt killed his last punt at the 2. That's a tall order for this one. This punt is taken by Miles Austin out across the 25. So the Cowboys will start. 8:35 left in the game, down 13. They start from their 25. Smith, the lone setback. They fake the pitch, throws out to the left. Renzel has a first down and more out across the 40. He's gang tackled along the sideline, forced out of bounds. Go with the quickie, try to break it into something. Renzel was able to turn it into something. 1st and 10 from the 41. Steelers know if they can get a lockdown drive here to stop the Cowboys, that'll probably pretty much close this one out. Staubach deep out. He's got Irvin. And he makes the catch along the sideline. Beautiful play, Michael Irvin. 6th catch of the day. He's only a couple yards shy of 100, but it still feels like Mel Blount has done a fantastic job on Irvin throughout this game. Clock ticking, handoff, no, play action. Staubach. And again, the Steelers secondary has everybody covered. Staubach takes off. He goes to slide, and he's popped. No call. He wasn't down yet. Got to finish the play. Again, we're building this as 80s and early 90s football, not this nonsense of today where you can't touch the quarterback. 2nd and 3 from the Steelers' 24. It's another play action. Strike to Renzel. Touchdown, Cowboys. So Renzel, who's been the favorite target for Staubach here in this one. Staubach fires an absolute strike. Looked like the safety was a little late coming over. He hits Renzel in full stride for the score, and the Cowboys aren't dead yet. Boniel coming on for the extra point. It's good, and this is a 6-point game. 4 plays, 75 yards, a minute 37. That's exactly what the Cowboys needed. Gary says, I was watching 78 Dallas Atlanta today. Staubach got laid out. In today's game, he would have been in concussion protocol. Guy was a trooper. Oh, absolutely. Well, like I said before, Staubach has such that reputation, Roger the Dodger and the Scrambler and all that kind of stuff, and he could move, and he could, but Staubach was sacked above an average amount, even relative to his era, and the Cowboys' offensive line back then was very solid. They had Rayfield Wright and Herb Scott and Dave Manders and guys like that. I mean, their offensive line was really good, but Staubach still got hit a lot. Inside 7 minutes remaining. Handoff there for Parker. He stopped. So now the Steelers have a little bit of work to do. They can't just go 3 and out here and think that they're in a comfort zone. Now they've got to try to do a little something. Handoff, Parker. He's stopped. It's only got 19 carries. That's why you haven't seen the secondary backs much. I think Rocky Bleier had a couple of carries earlier on. 3rd and 6. Clock continues to tick. Big play here for both sides. Bradshaw over the middle, complete. He's got Burris out across the 40. Big 3rd down conversion there for the Steelers. Move the chains and keep possession. Brady James with the tackle. 1st and 10 out to the 42. And that should buy the Steelers, if they're smart here, another couple minutes that they can get off the clock. Hey, Steeler fan, how are you, man? Good to see you. I hope all is well with you. And it's a fumble. Fumbled along the sideline. Let's see who comes up with it. Willie Parker, who's had such a good game. It's wrestled out near the sideline. Was he down? Too Tall Jones recovered it, and it's Dallas ball. So the Cowboys, oh, no, the booth is going to review it.
Previous play is under review.
So let's see if Parker was down. That is really, really close. Newman and Cornell Green wrestle him to the ground. Is that ball loose before that knee hits? And the call is overturned. The Steelers keep possession. Almost an absolute disaster for the Steelers. But they hold on to it. Play action over the middle. Plaxico Burris down inside the Dallas 30. Perfect time for a play action there. Dallas expecting Pittsburgh to run the clock. They get a fresh set. Now they're down into Dallas territory. So they're down into field goal range for Gary Anderson. And now they can play it conservatively from here. I may do the Patriots in the next batch, Michael. After I do all my testing, once I do the defensive backs for the Raiders and the Packers, and I run my test with this first 6 batch, maybe I'll put the Patriots into that second batch. I know we got a few Pats fans of people who follow me here, so I will, in a spoiler, the Patriots did get Brady with their inaugural draw. So they will start with their best quarterback from season 1. 3:05 left. It is 3rd and 7. Give me 1 second here, guys. I'll be right back. Apologies, the dog needed water and was clanging her bowl, and I didn't want her to wake my wife. So I see Gary Anderson puts the field goal through. That should put this game to bed for the Steelers. Lead goes to 9, so now it's a 2-score game. You know how to tell this is imposter Bradshaw? He looked on the sideline for a play. Bradshaw, who Hollywood Henderson famously said was so dumb he couldn't spell cat if you spotted him the C and the A. It's Bradshaw's numbers, when you look at him, forgetting the career perspective because the game was so different then, but just relative to his era. Like I said, I mentioned this before, like his completion percentage was low even for his era. His interception percentage was high even for his era. But man, the guy just went out there and won. Deep drive complete. Amari Cooper. And again, Dallas trying to keep themselves alive in this one. Deep strike to Amari Cooper. Staubach airs it out. Fires over the middle, complete to Renzel. Big hit from Lambert. Staubach has been great. 26 of 34, and now he's got a couple of big plays to go for. You kind of wonder why the Cowboys didn't try to air it out a little bit more earlier on. That was Cooper's first catch of the game. Cowboys in a no huddle here. Staubach fires. Complete, but Renzel is knocked down, doesn't get anywhere. Mel Blount with the hit. 10th catch of the game for Renzel. 6th tackle of the game for Blount. Clock still ticking. They are running the no huddle. We're down inside a minute 15. Cowboys have all 3 timeouts. They're trying to save those for if they get the ball back. Staubach sees an opening and he takes it in himself. Second time this game, Staubach has scrambled into the end zone, and Dallas stays alive. So Staubach goes up the middle, does another un-Staubach-like dance. Extra point, no need for the 2-point conversion here. Boniel will kick the extra point. It's up and good. So it's a 2-point game, and this is going to come down to an onside kick. 29-27 Steelers. Minute 8 left. Boniel is going to set it up. Everybody in the place knows what's coming. If the Steelers recover, the Cowboys do still have all 3 timeouts, so they could theoretically get the ball back with minimal time left. Onside kick, it skips, it's touched, recovered by the Steelers. Mel Blount recovers, there's a flag down, that may have been touched before the 10 yards. And it was. Michael Downs touched it early. So the Steelers will get the ball anyway. From the Dallas 38. Minute 5 left. Both teams have all 3 timeouts. Steelers, of course, have no intention of using theirs. Parker, and now he's just got to protect the ball. Had the fumble before that was overturned. Timeout is called. Dallas uses their first. 2nd and 6. Steelers aren't going to take the knee, though. They are going to try to run the offense, get the first down to ice this thing. Fuqua in motion. Handoff, Parker. Parker gets a couple. He's stopped. Another timeout. Dallas has 1 left. 3rd and 3. 58 seconds on the clock. Cowboys need a stop, and then they need Anderson to miss the field goal. Well, I guess if he hits the field goal, then they would just need a touchdown. It's all a moot point, though, because Willie Parker has the first down and more. Down inside the 20, and that'll put a wrap on it. Dallas uses their last timeout. Willie Parker serves notice. that maybe you should put a little more respect on his name. So the Steelers assume the victory formation with 53 seconds left. Bradshaw takes a knee. They'll have to do that formality one more time, but the Steelers are going to hold on and earn a 29-27 victory over the Cowboys here in this exhibition game. There's the knee, and that'll do it. Well, that was a fun one. Couldn't ask for two better teams to do it with, too. I mean, the Cowboys and the Steelers. Gary mentioned earlier on, it's like I had half of Canton between these two teams. And certainly lots more talent coming for both of them, but they both got really good draws to start things off. Bradshaw mugging for the camera. He'd later go on to make a career out of that. Huge play, the overturned fumble by Willie Parker. It looked like the right call, though. It did look like that knee was down before that ball came out. So the Steelers hold on. Parker goes 23 for 154. The one carry was the real big one there. Staubach was terrific. Both these completion percentages higher than what they've been averaging in my prior sims. But that's fine. That's why we don't judge anything based on one game. They're averaging out where they should be, which is all that really matters. Both quarterbacks performing well, though. Neither threw a pick. Staubach 27 of 35 for 363. Bradshaw 15 of 25 for 232. Willie Parker, as we mentioned, 23 for 154. Emmett, 21 for 61. That is a terrific job by the Steelers defense. Absolutely terrific job. DeMarco Murray carried a couple of times for him. So this game kind of played out a little bit weirdly because the game felt like it took a bit longer and neither team passed a ridiculous amount. But neither running back carried an overly high amount of time, so the secondary backs didn't really get much action. DeMarco Murray carried a couple of times. So again, we'll keep an eye on that stuff as we continue to go forward. Again, this is still a work in progress. Plenty of work left to do on it, but overall, very, very happy with how it's playing out. Jack Lambert, 11 tackles on the day, 2 for a loss. Levon Kirkland added 9. Sacks, T.J. Watt and Jack Ham, each with 1.5. Joel Steed and Andy Russell each had a sack as well. George Andre, Bob Lilly, and Chuck Howley with sacks for the Cowboys. So, that will wrap this up. Is Terry Glenn in the pool? Yes, and I'm almost positive. Actually, give me 1 second, and I can check. To make sure. No Gabe Rivera Steely fan. Let me see. Terry Glenn. Go into my pool here. Yes, Terry Glenn. Terry Glenn is in the pool, but he was not. He did not make the year one pool, so he's in their master pool of players, but he will not be with them. He will not be with them to start. Let me see. I can run down a little bit of the Patriots for you, just out of your own curiosity. So it's Brady and Mac Jones as a quarterback combination. So Mac Jones, we'll see what his clipboard holding rating is, because that's all he'll get to do there. Running back, Sam Cunningham, Kevin Falk, Jim Nantz, and James White. Wide receivers, you got a good wide receiver crew. Stanley Morgan, Wes Welker, Jim Colclaw, Art Graham, Sean Jefferson, and David Patton. And you got Gronk and Russ Francis. So, I mean, the Patriots offense, let me see, offensive line, Dan Coppin, Tom Neville, Nate Solder, Sebastian Vollmer. So, I mean, the Patriots offense looks like it can be good. What does their defense look like? Richard Seymour, Vince Wilfork, Houston Antwine, Jim Lee Hunt, Lawrence Guy, Ray Hamilton. Linebackers, Teddy Bruschi, Mike Vrabel, Chris Slade, Jared Mayo, Don Blackman. Secondary, Lawyer Malloy, Fred Marion, Ronnie Lippett, Don Webb, Patrick Chung. So that Patriots group sounds like they're going to be pretty good. Senor Sack. Let me see. Do I have where maybe where Gabe Rivera would have run? I don't know how much he might have missed the player pool by. So Gabe Rivera, 1 year, he missed the player pool by quite a lot. He had 2 sacks though. He had 2 sacks in that one season. When did he play? 1983. Gabe Rivera died in 2018. Per Football Reference. What is your affinity for Gabe Rivera? Those 2 sacks meant a lot to you. Man, it's always good to see you. I was glad to see you in here again. If you missed it earlier, I just got the Discord channel started for all the LSU stuff. It's just an easier way for me to post some quick hits on the projects that I'm doing and stuff like that instead of updating the. Oh, that's right. Oh, I forgot about the car accident with Gabe Rivera. Oh, I totally forgot about that. Oh, okay. Oh man. Yeah, now that you're mentioning that, now that makes sense. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. Well, if this league goes on long enough that I go through the entire pool and I need to fill up some gaps, we'll throw Gabe Rivera in as an honorary member of the of the FSFL. But again, if you haven't signed up to the Discord, kindly do so. Link is on the Facebook page as well. Let me see. Actually, I can probably throw it in. I'm so not well versed in all this jazz. Copy, blah, blah, blah. There we go. It's the Discord channel to jump on. They passed on Marino to get him. Well, they can't all be winners. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what Rivera would have turned into had he not gotten into that. But that's a sad story actually. But unfortunately, football is kind of filled with those. Here in New York, at the Dennis Byrd story, and of course that was a football injury, but even so. Anyway, it's late, and I'm not going to keep on rambling. So I greatly appreciate you guys coming in here for this. I hope it was fun. I hope it has you looking forward to the project a bit. When this league finally gets done, I will continue to do updates and exhibition games and ratings discussions and all that kind of stuff as I get going. But Gary, my pleasure. Thank you for checking in. Steeler fan, always good to see you. Michael Silva was here as well. Bernard Strom, 007, even Beatles Eternally swung by for a moment. Todd B was here as well. So a good crew of luminaries and friends of the channel. I greatly appreciate that. As always, guys, be good to each other. We'll talk soon. The Steelers come out of it with the win, 29-27.